It's still overcast and gloomy. After this interview, we'll cross back to Johannesburg to find out what the weather forecasts will hold for today. But we continue with our live broadcast from the Johannesburg Correctional Centre here in the south of Johannesburg. And when we started off a little bit earlier, we did mention to you that is day 2 of the ex-offenders conference. Right now, I'm joined by a former inmate who goes by the name of Colleen, and he's got a very remarkable story. In 1995, he was prosecuted for armed robbery and murder. He eventually went on to not only get a qualification but start an institution that is now mentoring young inmates. Colleen, good morning. Thank you very much for joining me here on Morning Live. And how did you manage, after the life of crime that you led, after the conviction, to turn your life around?
One thing that I can specifically say is that I gave my life to the Lord, and I was worried inside. I never had peace. I wanted to change and become a better person. So in 2002, I decided, you know what, I don't want to be a criminal anymore. I want to change and become a better person. That's when my journey of transformation started. And from there, I went on 2004 to start Fear-Free Life after completing my matric in 2003. And then in 2004, I started Fear-Free Life, which is now quality assured with the Department of Correctional Services nationally to work in all the correctional centers and community corrections. And also we're working with the Department of Education in ensuring that we help young people not to go to crime. And you can imagine the remarkable stories that we hear from these young people when we interact with them, because we are able to relate with them as people that have walked the path of crime. And they come out and confess, I'm a gangster, I'm a drug addict, I'm this and that. And from there we take them through counseling processes. That's what we do. But basically, again, we want to thank the department for the opportunity. As you said, the ex-offender conference, if you were there, that is remarkable. This opportunity for them to listen to us as ex-offenders, the issues, the challenges that we're going through upon release, and how we can contribute to the broader society for the safety of the people around here.
Let's quickly talk about that ex-offenders conference, because I can only imagine that it must be an incredibly difficult conversation to have with. If you're an ex-offender, yes, you've committed a crime, you were punished for it, you now need society to forgive you and move on. But on the other side of the table, you've got somebody who was directly affected. Just take me through what that process was like.
You see, one other thing that we as offenders we're looking into is that there cannot be effective integration of offenders in the absence of victims being involved. Our victims must also be involved in us being integrated into the society, because it does not help for me to come here and stand on a high moral ground and say I'm rehabilitated, it's all fine, but how about the people that I offended? I mean, the victims and the offended, because the victims are the first direct people that we rob, but the offended are those that are close to the people that we rob. So those are the people that also we invite them to participate in the integration of ex-offenders, because one way or the other, the system of DCS allows people to be released from prison after completion of their sentence, and therefore victims and the offended must be part of that integration part. Well, the process itself, the conference, is a wonderful opportunity for the Department of Correctional Service, the minister, the deputy minister, and the commissioners and the leaders, for them to understand what are the challenges that ex-offenders are going through. What is it that is making people that come from prison to re-offend again and go back to prison? So they are sitting there, we're discussing, they've allowed us the opportunity to tell them, not them to tell us what are the problems, because they don't understand what we're going through. We understand what we're going through. Then we're telling them, these are our challenges. Can you please help us overcome these challenges? But as ex-offenders, we're saying the most important thing, even to our brothers inside prison, first of all, you cannot be integrated if you're not transformed. Integration starts from your transformation. Then you can be integrated into society and become an active member of the society.
Colleen, unfortunately we've run out of time, but there's a couple of other issues we also want to talk about, especially the Johannesburg Correctional Centre. One of the issues is around bribery. One of the other issues is about rehabilitation programs that are effective within the institutions. Also, a little bit later, we'll have a chat to one of the managers here at the Johannesburg Correctional Centre, and we'll find out about the mindset, or that shift from the term prison to rehabilitation centre. There's a lot more to unpack from the Johannesburg Correctional Centre. Right now, let's go back to the studio where we'll show you what's happening from a weather front.